Hello everyone, MikeMoneyGMR here, and welcome to Let's Show Off Dungeon Siege. Well, at least that's what I'm calling it for now. Dungeon Siege is a great, awesome game, and, okay, you can already tell. This is recording attempt number 2, but not important. So, fun thing about this game, this awesome game made by Gas-Powered Games, was originally released for Windows XP, but Windows, I guess this is Windows 8 that I have on this, I'm not entirely sure about that, is very awesome and is backwards compatible and will actually work just fine with this. When I put in the game, it had no issues whatsoever loading it up and running it, so everything seems to appear just fine. I haven't run into any issues yet. So hopefully in this first episode that I'm going to be doing, you're going to not see anything either. I do want to show off just one thing which is kind of interesting, which I showed off before. Your screen resolution, they used a different thing back then. So instead of it just saying like, you know, whatever the base screen size of your, you know, desktop, it instead just puts it in its own resolution, and like you can change it of course, but that's the biggest one that it has. Another thing I want to show off is the frame rate. This game, it runs pretty much at a steady, from the first time I ran the game, it ran at a steady 30 frames per second, but it seems to kind of just fall in between 25 and 30 now, but that shouldn't be a problem. From when I did my test recording, everything came through just fine, so not a big deal. One other thing that's kind of cool is that it does have dismemberment, so you can like blow enemies to bits and stuff, and there'll be blood everywhere. Yeah, so keep that in mind. It's not as intense as like other games, but you know, it's there. Like I think I said in the last one that I did, the comparable is Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. It's like that. So anyway, we're gonna do a single player new game. So, oh, hold on. Actually, it kept my thing. So, that's great. Sure, we'll stick with that. Easy. And surprisingly enough, another thing that this game does, which is weird, is that main screen there is actually smaller than the game itself. Like, it doesn't put it in the base resolution.
A long time ago, on the continent of Arana, the once magnificent empire of stars had crumbled into oblivion, paralyzed by its own power-hungry legions, and torn asunder by an ancient and merciless evil. But the 10th Legion, the dying empire's most valiant soldiers and most trusted, withdrew far to the west to a land called Ebb, seeking to preserve what their empire had lost. Here, in the rugged mountains and the rich valleys of their new home, they founded the Kingdom of Ebb, a kingdom that has embraced peace and freedom for 300 years.
It's always the same, isn't it?
But there was a price.
Oh yeah, that dog's not dead.
Few now remember the evil that opposed them. Fewer still recall the dark sorceries cast to save them. And none could foretell that one humble farmer would stand between a vengeance from the past and the survival of the kingdom.
The animation there is very important.
The Krog are attacking. I couldn't hold them back. You have long been my friend, but you can do nothing more for Old North. Go to Stonebridge. Find Georn. If the Krog have elsewhere betrayed us, your bravery will be needed by the king.
So yeah, he does the move that the one character did as well in Mystic Quest. So what you want to do, well, it's going to tell you this. It's going to say you use your mouse to move and interact with the world. Click objects to interact with them, or click on open ground to move. When you place your pointer over an object, a brief description of the object will appear at the bottom of the screen. The default action will also appear there. To change the point of view, move the mouse pointer to the edge of the screen. Opening the Adventurer's Handbook pauses Dungeon Siege. When you are are ready to continue, click the resume button. To recall these tips at any time, press F12. So that would have been a difficult thing for another thing I was doing. So to pick up stuff in this game, you either have to hover over with your claw, or if you have like multiple items on the ground, you can hit the Z button. There's nothing inside your house. I checked it in the failed recording, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about your journal either. So the hoe, you can pick it back up, and I'll just show you why I'm saying that animation is important. If you drop something, you literally just throw it on the ground. So that's how that works. The hoe is not very useful though, so don't worry about, messing with it for right now. What you do want to get your hands on is over here, the dull pitchfork. That's a really good weapon for starting out in this game, so I'm going to go ahead and equip that. It's slightly better, it's like pretty much the same as the knife, but you have a chance to block enemies' attacks, so that can really help you out. So I highly recommend you get your hands on it. Of course, there's also a rake and a shovel over here that you can also pick up. So yeah. Another thing, you can use the mouse wheel to do some of the things that it tells you if you have a mouse with a mouse wheel now. So like I can zoom out all the way here, and I can also hold the middle button and change the camera like that. But I recommend having the camera kind of scrolled out so that you can click to go further, so that way you're not clicking like 500 times to get to where you want to go to. By the way, just to show you, the shovel and the rake aren't very good weapons at the start here. Basically, they're just going to be useful for money later on. So you saw that I was destroying these barrels. There is a good reason for doing that. Once this guy comes back here, I'll show you why you should probably destroy him. Also, it's not the same item I got before, but you can get a cudgel from that guy, which is basically like a bone-like club. It does 3 to 5 damage, which is better than your dagger and better than your rake, but you have no chance to block with it unless you have a shield. Which with the rake you can't use a shield, so that's why it's a better idea for until you get a shield to use the rake, in my opinion. Anyway, as you see, even with the menu open, you can attack things, and sometimes gold will fall out of them, so it's a good idea to do that. And then you can just close it afterwards. I don't know if you can actually get into this building. I think not. No, you can't. Not to mention it's on fire. Oh yeah, the game will automatically change your perspective as needed. So, like, don't worry if it does that. If you find yourself having trouble, like, clicking on enemies and stuff to fight them, don't worry. Now, you notice that you sometimes will have issues swinging at an enemy. Don't worry. That's just because your attack strength is kind of low right now. You definitely want to fight all these enemies before you move on. Anyway, we got a rock club here. Again, still, it's basically the same damage as your knife, so it's pretty useless. But it is something that you can use. The other thing though is if you take out your spell book, you can put your magic in here. I don't recommend using Zap, it's not very good. It's only if you absolutely want it. For me, I'm gonna stick with the combat magic fire because I like it the best. Yeah, basically right here it's telling you if your health gets low, you need to make sure to drink a health potion. We haven't found one yet, though, unlike in my last recording I did. Basically, in this game, a very interesting thing that this game does, you only drink as much health potion as needed to heal up. So, like, in this case, let's say that, well, let me fight these guys. I forget if there's actually a button for target closest enemy. Let me see. Doesn't look like it. Anyway, not important. So yeah, you automatically get an autosave here. But if you ever want to save at any time, you have to actually, you have to hit Control S, and that'll bring up your save file. So yeah, you definitely want to just go ahead and save, and there you go, you're saved. It's better than an autosave anyway. Change the point of view. So basically this we got a redo of the last change of point of view. Move the mouse pointer to the edge of the screen or use the middle mouse button. Moving the mouse pointer to the left and right edges of the screen controls camera rotation. Moving the pointer to the top and bottom controls camera tilt. You can also control the camera angle by moving the arrow keys. So yeah, keep that in mind. Basically here's using the arrow keys. I actually do recommend that you do that because in some cases it can actually be bad for you if you are trying to always move to the edges of the screen, because then you can't select a target to hit. Now you see how effective the combat magic is at this point. It's like practically one-shotting every enemy you come in contact with, right? Well, the reason why that's such a good thing is because most of these enemies can actually be kind of difficult the first time you fight them, so yeah, there's our first health potion. So that's the first enemy that you get that's not actually going to be able to be killed by the one thing. Oh, there we go, and our combat magic went up. So at that point, what you want to do is you want to switch to something else that you want to put up. So in this case, I want to put up melee, so that's what I'm going to put up next. Now you can always just wait for enemies to come up to you like this. The problem with that is that sometimes that can actually get you a little overrun. So it's a better idea to just kind of select the enemy you want to fight from the start so that you don't have any issues. And always target the big enemies first. At least that's what I recommend. So apparently I read a review about this game, and they were saying that after this game was like finished, like, you know, once it's like life was kind of run, they said that they said that they sold, like, they like put out the source code for it for free, and a lot of people created games similar to this, and basically, you know, like, kind of, I guess you could say, like, ruined the series a little bit, because with that being the case, like, people didn't have to like buy this game anymore, which kind of sucked. Yeah, using the bow up close is kind of silly, to be honest, but you can do that. These are magic enemies over here, so you kind of have to use the bow for, or you can rush in and attack them as well to do damage to them. There you go, just like that. Nice. There's a nice close-up view of our character here. How are we doing on time? Actually, we're doing great. Let's see something. Trying to remember where the hotkeys are. Oh well. Oh, looks like we, wait a minute. I need to go back. To open your inventory to equip different weapons or spells, click the inventory button next to your character portrait, or push I. Click and drag items to move them between your equipped weapons panel and the inventory panel. That really shouldn't be a really thing to really that you should do, because see, the thing is, I don't think you can actually switch these over to that places anyway, so it's not like I'm really, what I'm saying makes sense. I almost said that you can't change that around, but you really can't. So you just got your weapons panel. So you got your melee weapons, that's the first panel. Ranged weapons, that's the second. Spells, that's the last two. And basically you usually will have either a combat and a nature, or two combats depending on which one you choose. But yeah, anyway. There's that. I do at least recommend getting your melee skill up before you move on to this one area I'm about to head to. Actually, here, let's shoot this guy from a distance so we can get him over here. I'm gonna take on his buddies. Oh, that other one didn't die. Thought he did. Okay. Let's head over here next. Yeah, you couldn't see that enemy, but there actually is enemies in this water, and they will fight you as you move around in the water, so keep that in mind. Now let's take these guys on. Oh yeah, transmute's an interesting thing. If I remember right, let's see, it transforms objects on the ground into gold with some loss in value. Move the pointer over an item and press the cast button. See how you need required nature magic level 1? That's really not very useful, I'm not gonna lie. So it's up to you if you really want to do that or not. At least getting a level 1 in range skill. here's what I recommend for going to houses. First, put your camera down, then go inside the house, right? Like that. Now to go up steps though, you kind of have to change the camera little by little so that you can kind of, mess everything around. History of the Crypts. You want to read that for later. Magic Armor is another spell that we're not going to be able to use right away. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you need level 3 Nature Magic. Surrounds a target with a shell of magical energy, adding 2 to armor. An enemy's coming up the stairs, so we're about to get fought. There we go, got him. Let's see, how do you, right click. Just southeast of the kingdom town of Stonebridge lies the most honored burial place in all of Ebb. Here, the bodies of bones of all the kings and queens of Ebb are laid alongside the commanders, grand mages, and heroes of the 10th Legion. Consecrated by the returning 10th Legion as they fought to free Ebb from the tyranny of the Sec, I think. The Crypt of the Sacred Blood is built on the site of one of the bloodiest battles of the Liberation. As Legion Commander Karsi Noani, I think, survived the dead following the battle, he ordered that a space be cleared in the center and excavations be begun. From this day forth there shall be nothing accomplished that was not purchased with the blood of these valiant hearts, she reported to have said. Over the centuries, wealthier families installed layer upon layer of secret passages and traps to discourage looters from disturbing their interred loved ones. Today the crypt is considered unnavigable, and most burials are instead performed in graveyards surrounding the crypt entrances. Remember that for later. I'll just tell you that much. Now actually a quick way to leave a house, just click outside of it. Your guy will consider saving progress for it. Save, click on the game menu button and then hit save game. Or as I said before, Control S. I do recommend always just saving over your last one. Anyway, you can also call your save whatever the hell you want, but do realize that if you keep changing the name of it, eventually it can be a problem. Yeah, those mosquito-like enemies are the hardest to hit, just so you know. There we go, we won't die now. So your health does kind of refill, like, slowly, so if you find yourself almost dead, it might be a good idea to just stay out of combat for a little while. I'm not like that. I tend to rush in without thinking. Now, your death is permanent, basically, so to speak, where, like, if one of your, like, because you can get teammates, and if one of your teammates die, that's it, they're dead forever. Unless you have, like, a revive spell, which is, like, requires, like, level 7 or something, nature magic, and is, like, really fucking expensive to get your hands on as well. So, consider, not doing that. To view an overhead map of your surroundings, click the Mega Map button. Use the point of view controls to rotate or zoom the map. Oh, we're out of time. So I'm going to go ahead and take a moment just to read the rest of this, and then I'm going to stop the episode for now, since I know that we're at a good stopping point. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Well, first I need to read this. Use the point of view controls and arrow keys plus and minus to rotate or zoom the mega map. You can issue commands, move, attack, etc. from the map. That's another good thing I recommend, because that way you can, like, if you want to go all the way back to somewhere you were before because you think you missed something, you can pull up the mega map and go all the way back there. The compass is a useful tool for navigation, especially if you want to wander off the path. Okay, let me save this because I need to do that for a very good reason. There we go. And... oh, damn it, now this guy's attacking me. Come on, I'm trying to end the episode here, asshole. Die in a fire. Yeah, it does take a very long time for enemies to lose interest in you, so be extra careful. Anyway, I'm going to put it on this screen here, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.